So, yeah. So I actually enjoyed going to Mass at the St. Agnes Church. You did? Yes, and I was thinking that you could maybe teach me a little bit more about the saints. Oh my gosh, I'd love to. How about today? Today is the feast day of Saint Lucy. She's also known as Lucy of Syracuse. Like Syracuse, New York? No, actually. No, it was Syracuse, Sicily. Um, yeah, she lived in the 3rd century, the end of the 3rd century in Syracuse, New York, and she was a Roman, beautiful virgin of wealthy parents. Yes, like they all are. I know. I think it's just because I don't really think they really talked about the poor that much. And then, I don't think the Romans would really notice if the poor didn't do their civic duty because maybe they weren't Roman citizens if they were so poor. I see. Yes, I understand. So, anyway, like Saint Agnes, or yes, Saint Agnes, her mother wanted to marry her off to a wealthy Roman, I guess, governor. For 3 years, St. Lucy had convinced her mother not to have her married because she consecrated her life to Jesus, just like Saint Agnes. Yes, and she actually prayed at the tomb of Saint Agnes that her mother would understand. Understand that she did not want to get married. Yes, exactly. And her prayers, the prayers that she prayed at the tomb of Saint Agnes, actually came true. Her mother was cured of the hemorrhagic fever. That's you know what that is. It's a fleeting fever where you blood. And her mother was convinced to let her go unmarried. However, the governor who wanted to marry her was not so happy. And let me guess, what did he do? Did he send her to a brothel, just like happened to Saint Agnes? Yes, that's what happened. Why is it always they have to be virgins and they have to be sent to a brothel? And why is it they always must be decapitated? Was she also decapitated? Don't forget about all the other tortures they have to endure. It's not just that they were sent to a brothel and then just beheaded. Oh, as if that wasn't bad enough. Yes, exactly, as if that wasn't bad enough. Remember the other two, they were burnt. Remember St. Agnes, they tried to burn her, but the fires wouldn't catch. Apparently, this is also according to legend. Who knows how much of this is true? However, same thing happened to St. Lucia. Did I say her name is St. Lucy? It's actually Lucia because she was Italian. Well, Sicilian. So anyway, after being in the brothel for some time, tried to convince her possibly she proselytized to the men when she was there. I'm not sure. Yes, that's very interesting. Well, then the governor had tried to burn her to death, but the wood would not catch on fire underneath her feet. Before she was set on fire, or almost tried to set on fire, they gouged out her eyeballs. What? What are you not talking about? Yes, she's often portrayed with a plate with 2 eyes on them, or sometimes a cup with an eye on it, kind of like the evil eye, except her eyes were not evil at all. That's horrible. All these stories are just like, why do you need to even go watch a monster film? Or, why do you need to look onto Netflix or Amazon to watch one of those horrible movies? Because all you have to do is read up about the Catholic Church. Oh, I know. Isn't that true? Yes. So then her eyes were taken out and she was set ablaze, but the wood would not stay burning. So they stabbed her to death. No, of course not. They stabbed her. They cut her head off. They stabbed her to death. And then it was found upon when her body was being cleaned and prepared for burial that guess what? What? Don't tell me. She was assumed into heaven like Mary? No, no. But her eyes were once again restored. It was as if they had never been cut out. Of course, some of this is according to legend, so who knows how much of this is actually true. But it was true that she did live in the early 3rd century. The late 3rd century. And she did die a Christian martyr. And she was presumed to be still a virgin. What else? Yes, there's so much more interesting stuff. Tell me more. Like you said, what was she pictured with? Or her eyes? Yes, she's pictured with eyes, always probably. A martyr's palm branch because, well, that's a symbol of martyrdom, and a sword for being stabbed to death, and also of course, her eyes. One more thing. What is that? Her feast day is today. Like I said, her feast day is December 13th every single year. So don't forget, December 13th is a feast day of Saint Lucia. Feast day of Saint Lucia, December 13th every year. Now I have to tell you about the story about Saint Agatha. You'll never imagine what she was pictured with. Oh, do tell, do tell. Oh yes, I'll tell you.